Would you look at those strawberries just getting ready? They're all forming. And my garden is thriving. Well, the weeds are thriving. Mine not so much. Try and grow everything from seed as a practice. And these are my tomatoes. They're not doing terrible. The kale is really starting to grow, as you can see. It likes the rainy, cold weather, which is pretty much all we've had this year. And the peas are doing well. And it looks like these radishes in particular are getting ready to be picked. Now, I've decided to add some color to my garden with some marigolds. And I picked up some lavender out of a garden bed at a customer's house. This stuff above soil, it's here, and it'll shoot roots out way out here, and it'll grow new ones up here. So this stuff grows like crazy. And I think these are sunchokes. But if these are sunchokes, then I think those are sunchokes, and I'm pretty sure those are not sunchokes. So I'm just gonna have a pot with a weed growing in it and see what happens. Because it used to be sunchokes, just like this right here. There's sunchokes from last year. So this might be a sunchoke, or it's that weed. So we'll see. The mouse melon are not growing. They're just not. And this lavender is not growing either. But here's a few plants that I threw in to the area. Oh, and I covered everything with hay. It's like yearly fertilizer, so the hay that I threw in last year is decomposing, and the hay that I threw in the year before is almost completely decomposed. And it feeds the bugs, which feed on the organic material. And this thing is blooming. And there are these little, I didn't look up the classification on them, but they look like bees, but they're not bees. See it? It's doing the pollination for me. But, and as you can see, I'm getting many seed pods. Many seed pods are growing, which I can use to plant broccoli, say beginning of August, and I'll have some broccoli plants at the beginning of next year. And they'll be accustomed to this exact environment, this exact geomagnetic occasion. Now today I went through and weeded this bed. So the way I do my weeding is each day, I don't come out here every day, but I divide this into sections. I don't do all the weeding at once. I just do this section, and I do an okay job at weeding. As you can see, there's still a lot of other greenery growing in this row of radishes and peas, but you can distinctly see where the peas are growing. And so these melons are just not happy with the weather. Some of them are doing okay. But they are just slow growing this year, as we have not had sun, and it's May 30th. So let's take a look. Here's some more pots that I filled with peanuts. Those are all peanuts. And this is the corn. That's all corn that I threw in a pile. Same thing with this. And this, which is thriving. And it'll grow. I'll show you guys what that looks like when it takes off. But this field is going to take the most maintenance. I went through earlier this week and I kind of singled out the corn. I gotta cut this, but I kind of singled out the pieces of corn. Sorry. I just kind of removed the weeds around the corn so I can tell where the corn is. And I am a few days away from beginning to germinate the beans. And when I start germinating the beans, I'll definitely have to remove all the weeds. I mean, you can see a couple piles of weeds that I did earlier this week. But I've had nothing but rain, and again today some more rain. These pumpkins are beginning to really establish themselves and take off. You see, there's a cluster of growth in there. So I just have to be patient, right? And I'll see the rain. And I have some hot peppers, jalapenos, here, 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 basically along these bricks. And my garden is, you know, it's May 30th, and if this was a survival situation, first of all, I'd have planted a whole lot more radishes. Because you can eat the greens and you can eat the actual radish itself. But if this was a survival garden, I wouldn't be too far away. Oh, any edible plant, by the way, in case you did not know, any edible plant, you can eat the flowers as well. For some nutrition. I'll even, you know, so granted, you don't get many macronutrients when eating a handful of flowers. And it will taste like whatever it is that you are eating. Yeah, it'll taste like what you're eating. No, it will taste like whatever plant you picked from. And last week I was unsure. This week I am 100% sure that this is milk thistle. With all this, with the milk thistle and the oregano, I can be taking these flowers and drying them and getting myself an amateur chemistry kit to distill these into oils and making my own medicines. I have the money for one. I just don't think I can justify buying one. It'll just be another thing that takes up space. but I would like to. I'm a big fan of herbal medicine. And look at this oregano bush. I mean, how much oregano can a person eat in a day? Oh, this is upside down, I'm sorry. How much oregano can a person eat in a day? You know? So yeah, just a quick review. When I weed, I do each section. So this section is manageable, aside from this edge right here, which I'll take care of. And that edge right there. And that edge right there. And that edge right there. I just managed this by going through this one today. I don't think I'll have time to do anything the next 2 days. So when I get back, so when I do have time a few days later, and it takes half an hour maybe, I'll spend a half an hour on this one, and as I'm getting ready to plant the beans, that one might take, not only is it more area, but I have to be more meticulous for this. Then I'll spend an hour. So all in all, I'm only spending an hour a week just to maintain. It's really not that much work. I'll come through and weed whack this, weed whack all that stuff. And I pick up all the weeds that I pull and I put them in this compost pile. And that's where all the sticks go. They fall from the trees, and that's where all the weeds go. It's very simple, and just trying to get as much color in this garden as possible. And there you go. You know, I've got, I think that's open. And the bee balm is getting ready to go, and so yeah, that's my garden update.